Try to go live with this new event, and this is Always Go for Quality Part 2. Always Go for Quality Part 2, Take 2. And by the way, if you're watching this after the fact, be sure to watch Part 1 first. Always a good idea to watch Part 1 before you watch Part 2. All right. And we are live, and hopefully the viewers that are viewing in the other chat will come on over to this one and realize that I've started a new live broadcast. So hopefully they will pick up on that and join us when they can. And Carlos is in the house. He says hello, Craig and all. And sorry about the issue. I had the same problem where I had to restart. I had to create a whole new event, and I had to restart the whole thing to get rid of the chipmunk voice. So Lance is in the house, and he says hi to Craig and all. And this is part two, and we ended part 1 by showing that beautiful Gitman Brothers shirt, And I am wearing a Gitman Brothers shirt as we speak. Nice and full, plenty of fabric in this thing, very easy to move. That's how you can tell a high-end shirt. They usually have a lot of fabric in them. So there you go. And the Mighty Rat's in the house. And Carlos is saying hello to Lance, and everybody's saying hello to everybody. So they're finding their way in, hopefully from the other defunct show. They're finding their way into this one. And Lance says hi to Carlos Blue and the Mighty Rat. Triforce Rich is in the house. Carlos deal is going well. Seller is going to send me some requested pics, and then we will finalize the deal tomorrow. Do tell, exactly what are you buying? And by the way, that Grand Seiko, that titanium Grand Seiko sold. I had it on my watch list. It got relisted on eBay, and then it sold. So I'm wondering if somebody in here bought it. That titanium stunner that was being auctioned on eBay for a very reasonable price, I might add. Let's see, in the house, let's see, Mighty Rat. I am ready for the virus to be over and return back to normal, but I'm going to miss the daily shows when that time comes. C.L. McComb. They're starting to slowly open up Maryland, slowly, and we are making progress. There's a lot of tension and a lot of folks, a lot of nastiness on Facebook. The pro shutdown folks and the pro mask folks versus the open everything up and don't bother to wear masks folks. There's a lot of tension between those two camps. And somebody posted that that they thought because the virus is going to come back in the fall and because there could be another virus like a year from now, they said that we should continue the lockdowns forever. They said that we should make the lockdowns permanent. What do you all think about that? What do you think about that? That's kind of controversial. What do you think? Make the lockdowns permanent. They said there's no problem with keeping everything shut down and everything locked down. It works out fine. So there you go. Maybe there's some problems with the public education system. Maybe there's some problems there. Carlos is in the house. He's saying hello to a lot of people. R. Wags is in the house. And maybe R. Wags can shed some light. What do you think? I'm thinking Bitcoin's going to go sideways for a while, and I'm thinking it could dip down as low as $6,000 might be the final low before we have a big run-up the end of this year, or maybe into next year. Usually the big run-up happens 12 to 18 months after the halving, okay? So it might not happen until next summer. It might be next summer before we have the big run-up. I wonder what R. Wags, what his take is on that timeline on that. So I think some smart money is accumulating Bitcoin, though, as we speak. Let's see. And C.L. Malcolm says, courts in Massachusetts just extended the court closures from June 1 to July 1, talking about an 18238, Craig. Oh, wow. Cool, Triforce Rich. Cool. That's that mint condition one? Is it really mint? Please do tell. We want details. We want bloody details. And R. Wag says, hi, old friend, to Carlos. Blue says, hello, all. Craig, what did the GS Titanium sell for on eBay? That's a good question. I don't think it showed. Let me see. Do you know how to determine that? Let me go to my watch list here and see if I can pick it up. Give me a moment here. Give me a moment. Okay. Well, now it's showing that it has not sold. This is interesting. I thought it sold. Maybe it was a different one I was watching that I was notified had sold. This one's currently bid up to $960, and it has not reached its reserve. So we don't know what's going to go on with this. Yeah, this could be a non-starter. He's got a reserve on it that hasn't even met yet. So yeah, sorry. I just gave us some fake news on the channel. Sorry about that. Let's see here. What else do we have going on here? The courts are going to continue hearings via video and teleconference for the foreseeable future. No jury trials, no jurors until at least September 8th, they said. And Buser says, hey, Craig, are you pretty much set for life with your watch collection? I'm pretty good. I mean, I was thinking about this today. I was really thinking about, could I just wear the 002 all the time? I like this watch so much. I was thinking, could this just be my all the time watch? Because I think this strap is going to hold up fine. And let's say the strap lasts 2 or 3 years of everyday use, right? And I just replace it. I mean, it's not a big deal. But I think it might even last longer than that. And this thing is so comfortable. And it's so freaking gorgeous. I was actually entertaining the thought today, believe it or not, this may sound extremely radical on the channel here. I was contemplating what would happen if I sold both of those watches. If I sold the world famous 231 and the 005 and bought another Bitcoin with the money, I could get close to enough to get a Bitcoin. Not quite. If Bitcoin dips down, I could get a whole Bitcoin, right? And then just wear the 002 all the time. How radical would that be? Would that be radical? Let me know on the channel how radical a move would be to wear the 002 as an all-arounder. What do you think about that? Is that what we call radical? Michael's in the house. What I like about the 005, which I rarely hear mentioned about the watch, is the fact that the bezel is brushed. There's a lot of brushing on that watch. That it's a very nice combo of brushing and polished. It's very well done. It's absolutely gorgeous piece. But a very good point you make. Triforce Rich, you can judge for yourself. If we close the deal, I'll call in once it comes in. Okay, Triforce Rich in the house. And Igor says the mayor of Toronto opened the parks, but not the public washrooms at the park. So we had over 10,000 hipsters partying and defecating on the streets over the weekend. Yeah, unintended consequences, right, of these decisions. They make these decisions and they think the decision makes sense until they realize how it all plays out. Eduardo's in the house. How much exercise has everyone done today? I've walked 9.6 kilometers at work and just ran 3.6 kilometers in 18 minutes. Good job, Eduardo. I walked for a couple of hours. I'm not doing the running thing anymore. Get up to be my age and you get to where you're doing the walking more than the running. I do some sprints occasionally, but yeah, not much long distance running. Okay, Blue's in the house. Can you wear the O2 in the hot, humid, outdoor, sweaty weather? I think I can. See, that's the ironic thing about this whole thing. I think I can. It doesn't fit, super tight. There's some air going around it a little bit, but yeah, maybe it would get a little bit damp on the inside, but you just wipe it off I wouldn't wear it when I was sleeping. That's what I would probably do. I'd let it breathe. Normally I wear the 231 when I'm sleeping, but what I would probably do is I would probably at least let this breathe overnight when I'm sleeping, to let the leather, because leather, any shoes or anything, you always want it to be able to breathe. You don't want it to be constantly in use, right? So there's that. But I think I might be able to do it. because I'm usually not out like wringing wet sweating all the time. Now if I'm playing tennis or something like that, I wouldn't be wearing it. I'd take it off. And then that begs the question, where do you put it, right? When you're doing that, that's high risk, right? You'd probably have to leave it at home and go play tennis. And then, I don't think you'd want to put it in your car or in your bag or anything like that. Solid gold watches do have a tendency to walk off under those kind of conditions. They kind of sprout legs. Rolexes can do that too. Rolexes can have a tendency to kind of walk off if you're not careful. If you put them in your shoe or something when you jump in the pool, right? People tend to notice those kinds of things. And sometimes it doesn't end well. Try to get through a summer or two with the 002 before you decide to get rid of the 231. Leather straps in high heat and humidity is uncomfortable for some people. Yep, I hear you. And Lance says, just sell the 005. Lance is giving me some pretty sage advice there. Pretty sage advice. Tim's in the house. You couldn't go swimming with the 002. Absolutely, I would not go swimming with the 002. That's correct. But I don't do that much swimming anymore. I really don't. I hate to say it, but I just don't. I was never that into swimming, all the chlorine water and all that stuff. I never really got into it. I did the hot tub, from time to time. And I always wore my date 8 in the hot tub. I never took it off. But I usually, your arm was like up on the side and you're not submerged, right? But you would submerge it sometimes, but as a rule, not all the time. So, so but that's a good point there, too. That's a good point. You guys are making some good points. CL Malcolm's in the house. I saw a YouTube video today that made the argument that your 005 GMT is the most controversial Grand Seiko ever made. I saw that video. Do the 9F movement and the bezel that looks like a Rolex Explorer. Yeah, I saw that video. It was okay. The macro shots were really good and all that. He's a little bit inexperienced as far as doing watch review videos, and so some of the points he made, so-so. But generally, overall, a pretty good video. And a stunning watch. Stunning watch. The Mighty Rat says the leather strap can't be an all-arounder. Vacation, beaches, showers, etc. A water-resistant bracelet is a life requirement. The Mighty Rat in the house. Sell the 231 and the 005. Buy a G-Shock and an 002. Well, if I was going to go that route, I could just wear the Apple Watch when I want to. When I need a beater, I could just wear the Apple Watch. You can actually submerge, believe it or not, you can even submerge the original Apple Watch. People did it quite a bit, and it worked, right? But the newest Apple Watch, you can absolutely submerge. So I could buy a new stainless steel Apple Watch and put my link bracelet on it that I already have, and that could be a beater right there. That could absolutely be a beater all around, even if I had to go traveling or something and for some reason I didn't want to bring the 002, that could be a possibility as well. A lot of possibilities, folks. A lot of possibilities. Triforce Rich is in the house. Craig needs a steel Rolex to rotate with a GMT Master 2 is the most functional. No, I think if I was going to do that, I'd just keep the 231 in rotation. I would just keep the 231 because I really don't need the GMT function. But truth be known, I could sell either one of those two that are on the screen right now. I could sell the 231 or the 005, and whichever one I didn't sell could be my beater. Could be my in rotation with the 002 because both of those are waterproof. Both of them have screw-down crowns. What I would do is I would size the bracelet on the GMT for summer use, and then I'd be covered because that would be, when I would be using it the most would be summertime, right? And that would be an option. That would be a possibility right there. Craig would burn in a dumpster fire if he was a normal guy selling those GS, but because of his platform and deals Steve gave him, he can get out. There you go, Triforce Rich. Well, here's the thing. I've said before many times, The best time to sell something is when you don't need to, and when you're not in a hurry, and just wait for the right buyer to come along, and then you do a decent deal, and then you're good, right? Anytime you want to sell something that is not particularly liquid, that's not a liquid asset, if you are in a hurry to sell, you generally get burned, whether that be a car, a motorhome, even a piece of real estate. It's best to sell a piece of real estate when it's not even for sale. When somebody comes up and says, hey, I got to have your house, I want to buy that place, name your price, right? I mean, that's the ideal scenario, right? You're not even trying to sell the thing, and somebody's like coming to you and saying, hey, I got to have it. And so, yeah, if you're not in a hurry, that's the best position to be in. Let's see here. Craig, okay. Kevin D, the G-Shock is tough, but you need a nice analog sports watch. That's why he should keep his GS Diver. Malcolm, I watched it too. I think the AB is not right there. Okay. Craig can always put a rubber strap on the 002 and jump into the jacuzzi. It is 30-meter water resistant. Yeah, I mean, hey, these watches are meant to be worn. I think they are. I don't think this thing is fragile by any means. I think it's a heavy use watch. What do you think about that? How extreme is that? Buserv says, I think your 002 and 231 are the ultimate Grand Seiko collection. Don't need anything else. Buserv. So that means if an 005 buyer comes along, we can do that. And now Jaden, though, says, I keep the 005. It's so versatile. There, so he's voting for the 005. So really I could go either way. I could sell really either one of those. And then whichever one is remaining really could be my heavy use watch. I really think that's true. I really think that's the case. They're both extremely capable pieces. And Kevin says, Lance, look up the Phobius watch, whatever that. And David says, hi, Craig and all. Hey, speaking of a 005 that's for sale, David has one. We talked about it in part 1. And maybe David will put in the chat the details of his watch here, just in case somebody's watching part 2 and didn't watch part 1. And I will bring it up I will bring Dave's stunner up on the channel here. Give me a second to find that 005 stunner. We got a stunner alert on the channel coming up. Stay tuned for a stunner alert here on the channel, but first I need to find this. And if you're tuning in for the Don't Buy Junk show, be sure again to watch part 1 first before you watch this part 2. Because this is a continuing discussion of Don't Buy Junk. And this is part 2 on the channel. And just give me a moment here. I'm trying to get this to load in on my Flickr. Flickr always loads slow when I'm broadcasting because I'm hogging the bandwidth. I'm hogging the bandwidth to give you guys as much quality as I can on the channel here. We're trying to give you a quality broadcast. Okay, here is the 005 photo set on my channel, on my Flickr. And we're going to pull up Dave's stunner here in a moment. I'm going to get down to it here. Here we go. As I said, here's Dave's stunner on the channel. And that's his 005 on the brown crocodile strap with a deployant clasp. And there it is with mine in the foreground. That's my 005 stunner on the bracelet. And David's 005 stunner on the strap. Now, he has the original bracelet as well. And there it is. That piece is for sale. That piece is for sale. That is an absolute stunner alert. A stunner alert on the channel. Stunner alert on the channel for sale. For sale. That is an SBGN 005, and it's for a deal. It's for a deal because it comes with a full kit with that crocodile strap and a deployant clasp, which you can't really see in the background there, but it's there. It's a Grand Seiko deployant clasp, and it's for sale. Let's see here. Let's catch up. Okay, Andres says, honestly, I think you have a really nice collection now. You should keep it. So keep all 3 pieces he's voting for. Triforce Rich says, be served. They don't reissue Seikos as GS, but the quality is of a GS on the newer reissues. Okay. Yeah, it'd probably be a Hue tier prospect. Okay. High tier prospect. Okay. Kevin D, look up GS SBGJ239. Okay, SBGJ239. Let me try to pull that up here, see if we get any luck on this. See if we get any luck on this. I'm going to pull this up on the channel. This is the kind of service that you get on this channel and nowhere else. You don't get this kind of service anywhere else. This is an SBGJ239. That's kind of a stunner. Kind of a stunner. That's an interesting piece. What is that strap? Holy cow. What the heck is going on here? Crocodile strap. Wow. And it's a deployant clasp. That's interesting. Automatic with manual winding capacity. This is very interesting that they built that watch. That's an unusual watch. That's like a sport watch with a crocodile strap. Very interesting. Very, very interesting piece. Triforce Riches in the house. We serve the best GS, in my opinion, is the limited edition Ice Blue US limited edition they released a couple of years ago. Okay, cool. We serve the 005, kind of looks like a lady's pieces sitting next to the 231. Yeah, but it's a good size. It's a 38.5 mil. Some people say it's 39 mil, but I think it's 38.5 mil. But anyway, right around there. And it's actually a very good all-arounder size. It's thin enough to be used as an all-arounder. Absolutely, that can be used as an all-arounder. The 231, not so much. It's a straight-up sport watch. 231 is too big, and the 005 size is size perfection. Exactly. It's a perfect all-arounder size. But the 231 is a stunning sport watch. If you want a big watch to make a statement, sport watch, it's all that. But it is not an all-arounder size. Lance is in the house. Craig sent a photo of a nice GS9F. Okay, we'll take a look. David's in the house. 231, too large for me. 42 mil. PO works well, though. Planet Ocean. There you go. Absolutely. Okay, so put the details in there of your watch for sale, David, before you forget. I don't know if you did already up above. I just didn't notice. But anyway, if you do, please put the details in there because we showed it off. And we will check on the email. We'll check on the email here. On the channel, we get, Lance gets priority service here on the channel. Yeah, I've seen this watch before, and it's interesting. It's interesting. Not my first pick because I'm not a big fan of the squared off case, that case design. Some people like it. They think it's cool looking. Like, I don't like the squared off the way they did on the new Lexus cars, right? The way they've redesigned them. I think that they're kind of butt ugly, but yeah, I like the more rounded cases But it's an interesting watch, no doubt. I mean, it's a good-looking piece. Look at that dial on that puppy. It's a good-looking piece. But, yeah, it wouldn't be the one I would pick. Would the dial on the 231 and 002 be about the same size, Jaden? That's a good question. I would say the 002, the dial is at least as big, if not bigger. Because remember, you're not having that whole bezel and everything. This has a very small bezel on it. I mean, it would be a close call. I'd have to measure them. But the 002, the dial is large. When you look at it, I mean, it's no joke. It's very easy to read. And the thing is, the gold hands really play off the light and all. They're really reflective. So, and the background is kind of a soft, like that pattern. So it really gives good contrast. So that as you tilt the watch around, it's very easy to see where those hands are. So they did a hell of a job. I mean, they nailed it. I mean, talk about building a beautiful dress watch that's extremely legible, extremely comfortable. It's drop dead gorgeous. My gosh, how could they do any better? How could they do any better than the 002? Let me know. Am I just totally blinded by love, or is this thing just absolutely stunning? You guys are seeing it. You guys are seeing it live on the channel. You're seeing it live on the channel. Let me know what you think. Is that thing just absolutely stunning? And look at that second hand. Look at it going. I mean, you tell me what you think about that. But Jaden, that would be a good question to actually get the measurements of those and know exactly what they are. That would be an interesting thing. Craig, please rank the top 3 types of beans. That's a very good thing. I researched it when I decided to buy some beans in bulk from the restaurant supply place. I was buying 20-pound boxes of beans, so I wanted to get, the right ones. So I ended up on black beans and navy beans because those two are very nutritious, very nutritious. I think black-eyed peas are nutritious as well. So there are other options as well. What are the ones they use in chili? Kidney beans, I think. I think they're nutritious. So there are other options, but I settled on the black beans and the navy beans for the 2 that I bought recently, 20-pound boxes of, just so you know. Those are the ones I got. Those are both very nutritious. So I think very solid choices. And then after that, there are things like black-eyed peas are very good. They're very tasty. There are, of course, kidney beans. So there are other options, for sure, that are also, I'm sure, very good. But you can check on the nutrition on them. All right, David, put the information in here. $2,900 shipped, including bracelet, GS strap. It's a crocodile strap. And a GS deployant class full kit purchased from Little Treasury. So there you go. In very good condition, I'm sure. Lance is in the house. Craig, sell the 005 and the 231 and buy a Rolex Oyster Perpetual 39. No, I think if I sold both those watches, I don't think I would buy a watch to replace them because there'd be no reason to do that. If I was going to go that route, I would just keep the 005. I would just as soon have the 005 as an Oyster Perpetual 39. Matter of fact, I'd rather have the 005 than an Oyster Perpetual 39. So yeah, if I was going that route, I would just sell the 231 and keep the 005. I think, yeah. And Jeepu says, Craig isn't going back to Rolex, Lance. Yeah, I'm not going back. The lack of accuracy would drive me freaking bananas. Lance is in the house. The OP and 002 is a great 2-watch collection. There you go. Yeah, but again, the lack of accuracy with the OP would drive me nuts at this point. And David's in the house. Lance, not optimal advice. Wow, you guys are right on top of things here. Blue says Craig is spoiled by GS accuracy. Yeah. Triforce Rich. Blue, his 002 isn't super spring drive accurate. My 002 is running fast. It's not as accurate as my 231, not by a long shot, but it's still pretty damn good. It's still going to beat any Rolex, right? So, a matter of fact, we can check. It's been about a month, so let's do a time check. We catch up on the chat, and then we'll do a time check here because it's been about a month. We can get a reading on a month here. Let's see. RWAG says, Craig, the 002 is a stunner, beautiful watch, but you still need an action watch. In my opinion, the 002 is more of a dress watch. Yeah, I mean, this thing's pretty rugged, though. It holds up pretty good. It feels good on wrist, feels very solid. I think it could take some heavy use, some moderately heavy use. I didn't baby my date 8. I'm sure you don't baby yours. They can take some punishment too. And the spring drive is known for being, pretty robust. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what kind of use it can stand up to. Jaden's in the house. Nothing special about an Oyster Special 39 lance. I had one new for about 6 months. I upgraded to a Submariner. There you go. How do you use the navy beans? I would just cook them in the slow cooker the same way I do. I have a crock pot type of cooker. I cook the black beans for about 6 hours. I would do the same thing with the navy beans, cook them the same way. I cook about 4 or 5 days worth at a batch, and then I just reheat them. Of course, the first day I eat them hot right out of the thing, right? But then on subsequent days, I just reheat them to go with my sweet potato dish that I make. So it's pretty quick and easy to do. Let's see here, Lance. Rolex is, so they're just kind of like a base element of my dish. In other words, that's how I see the beans as just kind of a base element, right? Rolex is yesterday, GS is today and tomorrow, says David. At try, time will tell. OP is a hard downgrade for Craig. Be surf. Rolex has something Grand Seiko will never have. That is brand name. And yeah, but I don't buy for name. I buy for quality. That's what this whole show, by the way, part 2 is about, is buying quality, buying the best. Don't just go blindly and go after that name, because that name might not be where it's at. Okay, let's see. Rolex doesn't have better quality than GS. That's correct. That being said, I do love Grand Seiko. However, it's a fact that brand name is important if you care about that sort of thing. But I don't buy for brand names. I buy for quality. Anything I buy for quality. Now, it might also happen to be a good brand name, like Gitman Brothers is a good brand name for shirts. But, it's not always like that bag I showed in part 1, that messenger bag. A lot of people would never know the name of the company that made that. They would have never heard of that company, but yet it's one of the best messenger bags you can buy on the face of the earth. So there's that. Okay, so what was I going to do? I was going to show something. Now I'm forgetting. For crying out loud. That's why I should have done it right away. What was I going to show? We're going to do an accuracy check. Accuracy check on the 002. All right, so we got to find the time. Give me a second here. And I'm going to close out a bunch of these tabs because we got too many tabs going here. And I've got to get the time up here. We got to get the time going on. Here we go. We're going to bring up time.gov. We're going to do a time check live on the channel here. You'll never see them do this on any other channel. Okay, so there's the official time. And here's number 2. get these side by side. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to do a freeze frame here. All right, we're going to get this, whoops, get this in focus. All right, and we're going to do a freeze frame right at 30 seconds. Here we go. Bam. Okay, that's pretty much right there. Okay, so it's 5:35 and 22 seconds. Okay, so, and I am at 30 seconds. All right, so basically I am 8 seconds fast, correct? 22 to 30 is 8. So I'm running 8 seconds fast after about 30 days. I don't think it's quite 30 days. I think it's maybe 28 days, because I got this, I did the unboxing, I did the video. Do you guys remember what day I got this watch? And then I reset it a day or two later because I had to do some photos and I had to reset it to 10:10. So it was a couple days after I got it that I reset it. So maybe you guys will recall when I got it. Do you remember what day we did the live stream from Steve's? I could pull it up on the channel, but I don't want to. Maybe somebody remembers the day that we did the live stream. So it would be a couple days after that I set it. And then we'll have more of a handle on what this thing is doing right now. Let's see here. Let's see. It seems that slow cooking removes the nutrients, more nutrients than pressure cooking. I'm very happy with the Instapot. I don't know if that's true or not. It's a good question. It's a good question. I would doubt that that's true, but it's hard to say. Let's see. Better materials, case construction, precision engineering class. I have handled pretty much every model Rolex and mini GS. GS has way better finishing, but that doesn't mean it's better, I guess is what he said, better. Well, this one is absolutely better. There's no Rolex that can touch this 002. I can tell you that right now. That's not even a close call. So there's that. Let's see here. I don't buy mechanical watches to be accurate, though. +2, -2 is good enough. Otherwise, just get a Casio. Well, but I mean, you can step up to a Rolex and then you get the accurate. I mean, you can step up to a Grand Seiko and then you get the accuracy also, and super good build quality. So you can have both. The current 36mm date sucks. No lume, no silver dials. Yeah, the dial selections on the 36 is really poor. I agree with you there. Lance, the quality of the GS is on a whole other level when compared to Rolex. The price is way cheaper too. Lance, good point. ViewServe, if Craig were to buy a Rolex, it'd have to be a GMT or President, no Oyster Perpetual. Good point. Good point there. I love your channel though, Craig. I've been watching since you had a few hundred subs. Wow, that's a long freaking time. I like how you stick to your opinion and do not get influenced by others. All right, well, thank you. Thank you very much. That's what we try to do. We try to be real on the channel. There are enough, as what do they say? There's enough of those posers out there, posers, right? So we try to be a little different on this channel. Triforce Rich, if you want a very functional Rolex, get a GMT. If you want a simple Rolex, get an Explorer. If you want a statement, get a Date 8. If you want a combo of everything, get a sub. Yeah, but I don't like the new super case, so I would pass on that. David's in the house. He says, yes. Okay. Lance, be objective. The quality of Grand Seiko is better when speaking about finishing. However, when speaking about construction of the watch as a whole, Rolex is greater than GS. I don't know about that. GS bracelets aren't as good. Oh my gosh, no. That bracelet on my 231 is fantastic. It's better than any bracelet I've ever had on any Rolex. It's not even a close call. Much more comfortable. better looking than a typical oyster bracelet because it's got that polished center link. Yeah, far superior to a Rolex clasp bracelet. And the clasp is much more functional as well. So that's not even a close call if you actually wear your watches. If you want a box watch, a watch to stay in the box, then the Rolex might be the better choice. Let's see. They each have their pros and cons. You have to choose what is more important, finishing or overall construction. David's in the house. April 24th, you were at Steve's. Okay, so the 24th, so 25th, 26th was about when I reset it. It's been a month. So it's been a month. It's the 26th now. So yeah, I mean, it might have been the 27th that I reset it, roughly. So it's roughly a month. So we're talking, what, 8 seconds in a month? That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's acceptable to me. That's better than the specs call for. The specs call for 15 seconds, as Blue points out in here, and I'm well inside of that. So I'm very pleased. And the fact that it's fast makes me very pleased. If it was slow, I would be a very unhappy camper right now. I'd probably be almost suicidal, I have to tell you, if it was running slow. It would be very disappointing. Triforce Rich is in the house. I laugh at anyone who thinks GS is better than Rolex in any way except finishing. The movements are toss-up, and it's a preference thing. Rolex is better in every other way. No way. No way. They can't touch the spring drive. Rolex doesn't have anything that can touch the spring drive. Not even a close call. Standard spring drive is good, plus or minus 15 seconds monthly. Exactly. And since I'm within that, I'm happy. Would still be more nutritious than ice cream and pizza, says Carlos. GS just has to add micro adjustments and they're good. For people that need that. Now, of course, my 231 has micro adjustments. So it's got 4 micro adjustments on it. And it's got the adjustment clasp, the extension clasp as well. So it's pretty much all that. And the naysayers that talk, oh, that's a terrible clasp and all that, they've obviously never worn one for any period of time. They have no experience with one because it is awesome. I wear that thing every freaking day, and I love that clasp. I use it all the time, especially in the hot weather, going in and out of the air conditioning and stuff. Let's see here. Very nice to be able to extend it while on wrist, not having to take the damn watch off wrist and fumble with it. It's really nice. Let's see here. If you aren't factoring in resale value, GS is way better for your money when buying used. Well, I mean, you shouldn't. You really shouldn't be buying a watch for resale unless you're some kind of dealer or something, because generally speaking, you're going to get burned on flipping watches. It's usually does not end well for the flipper. Standard as opposed to 5-star on the dial models. Well, now that's different. You're talking about the 9F movement. The 9F movement watches are within 10 seconds a year, not a month, within 10 seconds a year. And the 5-star model, the one with the star on the dial, those are plus or minus 5 seconds a year. And my 005 is like plus a second a year. I mean, it's running insanely accurate. It's just insane. Remember, Grand Seiko, generally speaking, under-promises and over-delivers. That's how that works. They usually outperform what they're going to promise you. So there's that. Let's see. Seems used GS prices have been hit harder by the market crash than Rolex at Rich. Well, that's good for people that want to buy, right? Let's see. Mixed up spring drive with 9F, says Blue. David Williams says, okay. The new super case is gross. It's like when women add artificial fat to their butt. Totally ruins the natural proportions. That's a good point. That's a very, very good point. Triforce Rich is in the house. Only on this channel do you get perspectives like that. Triforce Rich is in the house. Rolex had barely lost any value, especially in the under 10K models. GS limited editions keep good value, but standard production is awful. Good for picking up deals, though. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a plus, I'd say. Let's see. I like how the Stevester shut down Ron by calling him out for never handling a Crador in person, yet still talking smack. Oh, he did. I didn't catch that. That's good. That's good. Lance is in the house. Triforce Rich. The all steel Submariner is definitely functional and simple, but not really a statement. The all gold or two-tone models are watches that make a statement. Yeah, I'd pass on the two-tone. I'd just go all gold if you're going to go gold. I think that's the way to go there. U-Service is there. And this is true, and why I wouldn't pay over retail for a steel watch. You want attention, you grab two-tone or full gold. Yeah, go gold. Go gold. U-Serve. Rolex doesn't need to try hard. They can rest on their laurels. There you go, Triforce Rich. I know a dealer with millions in watches, and I asked him why he doesn't take GS. He told me because he doesn't want to piss off his clients with how little he can offer for one. Good point. Good point. He doesn't want to piss people off. I don't blame him. He loves the brand, though, and has one personally. Leon's in the house. Rolls is better in every other way. How? It took Rolex how long until they actually made a movement with a quick set date adjustment? And Kyle's in the house. My GS is to the second perfect still and has been 2 months. Yeah. And Brianna, the lovely Brianna, is in the house. She says hi to everyone. Brief Fit Dance. Serve, I think GS deserves a wrench for that comment. Okay. He needs to be supported by at least 2 other wrenches, and if he wants one, we'll hook him up. And beautiful day to stay active and walk. Absolutely. I got in at least a 2-hour walk today. Absolutely. And Lance is in the house, and he says hello to Bree. Why not? And Blue says, Bree, hi to Bree. Hopefully everyone is safe. Bree, please, 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 please. This whole safety thing. That I got to say something about being safe, folks. I got to make a comment on this. The people that built this country, and you guys should watch the I think it's the documentary, the series. I think it's The Men Who Built America. I think that's the title of it. The History Channel, I think, came out with it. And you guys should watch that series on the men that built America. It talks about people like Carnegie, Rockefeller, Ford, the people that built this country. And let me tell you something. They weren't safe. They didn't play it safe. They were aggressive at doing what they wanted to do. They were aggressive at getting things done. The last thing they did was play it safe. Okay? And you don't build a brand, you don't build a business, you don't get healthy even by always playing it safe. Risk takers will generally win. Generally, the guy that's playing it safe will be left behind. Now, that doesn't mean do things that are stupid. Obviously, calculated risk, right? Calculated risk. But risk takers are the ones that built this country. And right now, the people that are scared to death because of this thing that's going around and are putting their plans on hold or otherwise not executing on the things that they need to do to make them their business successful or make themselves successful or whatever, if they're putting those things on hold because outside forces are telling them they need to be safe, right? Those outside sources, they're not going to help you when the time comes. They're not going to help you reset the clock and get your time back that you wasted by listening to them. It's not going to help you any. And I'll tell you what, there are literally, right now as we speak, there are millions of businesses being shut down for good. Done. Shut down. Millions. There are 100,000 in New York alone that are being shut down because of this thing, this government shutdown, right? They're being shut down for good. They're done. Okay? Their dreams are crushed. These are people in some cases that spent generations saving up money to start a business. Some of them worked jobs literally for decades and saved up money so that they could open up their own business, their dream come true, their own business, right? And now some of these businesses are being crushed. And guess who's winning? It's the big guy, the Amazons of this world, right? While these small businesses are being clear-cut, are being totally annihilated, okay, by this government action, these big guys, Home Depot, Lowe's, Amazon, they're winning. No wonder their stocks are doing good. All their competition's being eliminated. So folks, don't let outside forces crush your dreams and crush what you want to do. Shake it off. Don't feed into it. Don't pay attention to them. The fear-mongers. These people are fear-mongering out there. And it's not positive. It's not good. And it's only going to harm people if they feed into all of that. So I'll get off my soapbox now. But anyway, I hate to see people's dreams being destroyed by this fear-mongering. This thing doesn't even affect most people. If you're healthy, if you're not obese, if you're not 80 years of age up, if you take reasonable care of yourself and all, you're going to be fine. You don't have anything to worry about. And if people are in a high-risk group, they should take steps to protect themselves. And people that are out and about and possibly getting exposed should not go around those people that are at high risk. They should have respect for those people. And that's how it should be worked out. But to clear cut and to wholesale destroy, literally at this point, millions of businesses across this fine country is devastating, and it's a very, very sad state of affairs. If you ask me, Leon's in the house. I have had a Rolex sub since 1995, and while I love the watch, it is still my feeling watch. Step up to a day date. It sounds like you're ready to step up to a day date, Leon. Might be best to place a hold on new wrenches, says David. Blue says, I agree. A wrench holding period. There you go, wrench embargo. Lance is in the house. I think that two-tone looks nice. It makes a watch sporty, but with a splash of luxury. Yeah, I would pass on the two-tone. I would go with the all gold if you want to go gold. Trust me, it's the way to go. I wore all gold watches for many, many years, and it's the way to go. And Leon says, hello, Bree. How are you in this steamy Maryland weather? It was nice today. The humidity wasn't bad at all. I walked for 2 hours, and she's in the same climate generally as me, so I'm sure her climate was okay today. And Stig says hello to Lady Brianna, and Zeus AL says the men that built America didn't stay safe; they took risks. Pansy free zone in Craig's house, says Blue. Leon's in house. Being safe is good. Don't you get the happy feeling when you yell, hey, watch out for that manhole to warn your fellow man of danger? Here's the thing, and this is the other thing about this. Somebody actually posted, and this was on Twitter. This is a real tweet. Somebody tweeted that we might have another virus next year, and this same virus might come back this winter, so maybe we should make the shutdowns permanent. We should just make them permanent. That's their solution, right? I'll tell you, I'm worried about the public education system. I'm worried about the education that these people are getting. I really, when I see a tweet like that, it really worries. They said there's no harm in just keeping the shutdown permanent. Why shouldn't we just keep it permanent? So, that's what we're dealing with. Okay, I read that one. I'm tired of coworkers judging when I go for a run outside. I want to say, okay, Karen, I see you've put on 30 pounds this month. How's that being healthy? Is that the third glass of wine tonight? There was another funny one. There was a posting that the husband and wife were having an argument. They were at home. They were having an argument, and the wife said, "Do you think I put on weight during the lockdown?" And and he said, "Well, you weren't exactly thin before the lockdown." And then it said, below that it said, "Time of death 11 p.m. and cause of death COVID." In other words, she killed him, and the cause of death was COVID. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. He said, "Well, you weren't exactly thin before the lockdown." Oh, jeez. And she killed the guy. Oh, I got to get... Oh, Dan, I'm live. I'm live on the channel. No, obviously you don't subscribe to the channel. I'll talk to you later. Yeah. So anyway, okay, so let's see what else we got here. Craig, if you were in the Star Wars universe, would you join the rebellion or stick with the Empire? I never watched the Star Wars stuff, so I can't relate. I'm sorry. I was one of those weird people that didn't get into that stuff. After that, I hear you, man. Survival of the fittest, Eduardo says. Geez, it gets my vote. David Williams says, no pansies, no snowflakes, no fear on this channel. And Briefit Dance says, it's definitely a dream being crushed. Well, yeah, a lot of people's dreams are being crushed. They really are. And especially when you see people that literally took, some of these businesses are generations old, multiple generations to build up some of these businesses. Adventure Park USA is in deep trouble. Now, it might survive. My God, I hope they survive. But they have put in that's their life's work, and everything is in that business. Everything is in that business for the Stottlemyre family. And I know them well. I know Mr. Stottlemyre, the senior, and I know Eric, his son, and they're good folks. But they're still shut down. And that place has a huge overhead just sitting there. Just sitting there, it has a huge overhead. They couldn't even get a continuation on paying the taxes, the property taxes on it. So this is real people that are really being harmed here. So now that there's little they can do. I mean, they got to use lateral thinking. They're doing the best they can. They're selling barbecue carryout, but my gosh, how much can you make on barbecue carryout to support a place like that? But other people that can make decisions not to feed into this stuff and to try to keep moving on, keep making progress, you got to make those decisions. And you got to do what you got to do. Be your service in the house. With restaurants, I noticed that the big franchises have delivery/takeout signs, whereas the small businesses have for lease signs up front. And Jaden's in the house. I think the whole thing was a backdoor deal between Amazon, Lowe's, Costco, etc. to put small businesses out of business. I'll tell you, that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. And Tim says, Craig, when talking about business, it reminds me of the Danny Day-Lewis film, There Will Be Blood. There you go. I should check that out. Cheetown's in the house. Hey, Craig, an economist defined a country's wealth not by stock market prices, but by its industry and its ability to make things. There you go, Leon. It was nice. Thank you. And Carlos says hello I guess Crappy's in here. I don't see him, but Jaden's in the house. Joe Rogan said Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart should be shut down for 3 months and let the mom and pops be open then. Yeah, let the mom and pops have a chance. I agree. That'd be a good move. Buserv says, I like how Trump refuses to wear a mask. It projects strength. There you go. David Williams, local restaurants and other businesses are opening in Las Vegas. Fortunately, as of now, do not know if any any biz that is gone, fingers crossed, okay? Triforce Rich, Fauci himself said a mask is useless. Goes to show how many brainless sheep there are. I walked in without a mask yesterday to pick up food. They said nothing. Well done. Well done. Yeah, the masks are silly. It gives people a false sense of security, you know. I mean, if somebody's at risk, they should be at home, secured, safe, and not be coming in contact with anybody that's out and about. So if somebody from their family is going out and about and willy-nilly being, you know, they should not come back and be in close quarters with that person that's at risk. That person that it's at risk needs to be, quarantined. Unless they want to take a chance, right? I mean, it's up to them what chance they want to take, but you can't. See, this is the thing I don't understand. Any security expert knows that it's a lot easier to secure a relatively small area than it is to secure a very large area. You just can't do it. You cannot secure a large area. There's no way you can protect a large area of people from being exposed to this thing. You can't do that. Now, you could take a small area, like one particular home, and you could have somebody that's at risk in there, and they could stay away from anybody else if they chose to, right? And just have things delivered. And by the way, things that are delivered, the virus doesn't stay on those things for like hours like people thought. It's a very short period of time. If they had food delivered, for example, and they let it set outside their door for like an hour and then took it in and ate it, they're fine, right? So there are things that they can do to be extremely safe if they choose to do that and if they're at risk. But thinking that you're going to make the whole community safe and that those people are therefore going to be safe, that ain't going to work, and it didn't work. And so it's just a false sense of security, which is worse than real security, needless to say. Let's see. Cheetown says, Craig, I say the state should hook us up to machines and inject liquefied potato chips into our bloodstream 6 times a day. There you go. And some Pepsi. Leon's in the house. These whiny, neckbeard, man bun wearing pansies. More folks died in the 1918 to 1920 flu, and folks just dusted themselves off and went about their business. The 1920s roared. 2020 is the U.S. in full. I don't know what WUSS is, but anyway, yeah, I got the gist of that, Leon. Going to go for a run was fun watching. There you go, absolutely. And Buser says, I almost got tackled by a shopping cart girl when I walked into a grocery store without a mask. And Triforce Rich is in the house. I wonder if the girl was hot, though. If she was hot, that might have been enjoyable. Let her tackle you. Let's see. Cheetown's in the house. Adventure Park should just put all patrons in a giant airtight balls and have them bounce into each other. $20 for the fun. There you go. And Merlin Reed, Vince McClellan in the house. Okay. Talk about watches. You look like Vince McClellan. Okay, I don't know who that. Okay, I don't know who that is, but I'll go with it. We're going to wrap this up pretty soon. We're over an hour already. Carlos says here is mandatory to use a mask. We still have policemen on the entrance of supermarkets checking that we are allowed to purchase at the time temperature is taken, and put alcohol in your hands. Yeah, and that's not good either. Using all those different products on your hands, that's not good either. That's not good for you at all. So that's completely the opposite of what you should be doing. All those hand sanitizers and stuff, that's not a good look. Kevin's in the house. Kyle, it's true that skaters clean the skate park of sand. We need a report. We need a report from there. Lance is in the house. Reed, I don't see the resemblance. Okay. Triforce Rich is in the house. Craig, would you sell your 002 for a 10K profit on the condition that you could never buy one again? If so, what watch would you replace it with, if any? Triforce Rich, $10,000 profit. Oh, boy. The condition you could never buy one again. In other words, never buy an 002 again, but I could buy something else. I'm assuming that's what you're saying. Yeah, I would take the $10,000 profit. Yeah, I would do it. And then I would wait for hopefully Grand Seiko to come out with one that's like similar but also a total stunner that I could replace it with. I think I would take that deal. I would miss the little puppy, but $10,000 is $10,000. I'd probably put that $10,000 in a Bitcoin. It's probably what I would do. Let's see. Blue's in the house. If Craig was on mad amounts of steroids, maybe. Jaden's in the house. Overweight people are going to start passing out with masks in the 90-degree weather. I'll tell you what, some of those masks, some of those homemade masks out of cloth and stuff, they don't breathe well at all. I mean, it's stifling wearing those damn things. I guarantee you that's not good for you. I'll tell you the other thing. Vitamin D is a lack of vitamin D, a low vitamin D level is one of the risk factors of having a bad outcome from this virus. So all these people staying indoors, right, and staying out of the sun and not getting their vitamin D, that's a contributing factor, right? So everything they've done has been counter to what they're trying to do, theoretically save lives, right? Everything they've done has been counter that, has done the opposite of that. Keeping people cooped up indoors, turns out that's the easiest way for this thing to spread around, and that's why they had so many deaths in the nursing homes, right? Because they're all cooped up in there, and the whole thing's spreading around all in there, and they don't have the vitamin D and so forth, and it's a recipe for freaking disaster. Disaster. So we are going to wrap this puppy up. We've solved all the world's problems on part 2. By the way, if you didn't get to watch part 1, definitely watch part 1 because that's where we really showed off some clothes and some different things, the different quality things that you can buy, even a bunch of high-end shoes. We showed off a bunch of stuff. Lance says, I saw one person in Stop and Shop wearing what looked like a hazmat suit. They had a gas mask and everything. Oh, man, you should be polite, but you should go up to somebody like that and just say, hey, can I take your photo? You know, just take their photo. That's funny. You're going to want that as a keepsake. You're going to want that photo. You can share it on the channel here. Cheatdown's in the house. Wonder if low vitamin D exposure was a risk factor for the serious cases in New York City and Chicago. Well, duh. Absolutely. Absolutely. And the other thing is, oh man, don't get me started. I mean, when you're classifying just about every death, you know, every heart attack, every stroke, just about everything is COVID-19, right? You can get those numbers up there pretty high, pretty quick, right? And when your hospital is being compensated based on those numbers, then, hey, follow the money, folks. Follow the money. Somebody asked a question on Facebook. How come Japan did so well? How come? I think they had, like 900 deaths total in the whole freaking place, right? And they never did a lockdown, you know, or anything. They kept their schools open and everything, right? So somebody said, how come Japan did so well? And another guy chimed in and he said, because they're not counting every death as COVID-19. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. So let's see what... Carlos says, I'm still surprised that almost nobody in health services talks about vitamin D. They don't talk about anything that makes sense. For example, they don't say that people under 20 years old, do you realize that people under 20 years old are like 10 to 15 times more likely to die from the regular seasonal flu than they are from this COVID thing? 10 to 15 times more likely, okay, to die of the seasonal flu. No, nobody talks about that. Nobody says that. You got to get up into your 40s before you're more likely to die from this thing, right, than the regular seasonal flu. And then you get up like over 80 years old, and then you're, like 1 in 3 or something dies, or, I mean, it's a high mortality rate if you're over 80 years old and you have other conditions, which, a lot of people over 80 years old have other conditions, right? So those are the people that we should have protected, and that's where they should have put the resources, is protecting the people that are actually vulnerable. But no, government doesn't do things that way. They don't do things that make sense. And Triforce Rich says, I know doctors, and they told me everything isn't 100% cause of death due to something else. Has to be put down as the coronavirus. Absolutely. Time, Carlos, to start lounging in the sun like poolside lizard. Well, he already does. Carlos is getting his vitamin D. He's healthy as an ox anyway. All right, folks. On that note, we're going to wrap this puppy up. We've been going for more than an hour. That's how that works. Click subscribe, and click the bell so you'll get notifications.